Jared Goff under heat. Jamaal Williams now in question. The #1 draft pick in all the NFL draft is currently sitting in Detroit. We'll see what happens by the end of the season. But we're going to talk about that, the resurrection of the defense, and a little bit more in today's overreaction version of Lions Talk Live. Well, greetings and salutations to everybody out there in YouTube world. I am your host, Dan Thornton. This is Monday's overreaction video on Lions Talk Live. I'm sure now that we've all had, about a day to sit and digest what happened yesterday in Dallas, we talk about it, chat about it, leave your thoughts in the comment sections below. But the #1 thought I want to put out there for today's video is, what do we, the Lions fan base, make of Jared Goff? Is he the person we saw the last 6 games of 2021, plus the first several games of this season? Or is he the guy from the last 2 games in 2022 who also seemed to appear in the first 10 games or so of 2021? He's either hot or cold, it seems, but I'd love to see what you, the community, are thinking about Jared Goff right here today. While we're talking about Jared Goff, while we're debating Jamaal Williams, while we're chatting about the resurrection of the defense and the pass rush, if you would, pretty please, consider subscribing to Lions Talk Live. The subscriptions, the thumbs up, help us a ton. How do they work? Well, for every thumbs up we get, the algorithm at YouTube helps kick the videos out to further and further people within the search parameters. The subscriptions also do the same. So if you would, if you're going to watch these videos, please help me help you. Please consider subscribing, leaving a thumbs up, and some comments on what you'd like us to address during the videos or anything you have as far as a reaction to the comments within these videos. Now let's get on to the rest of today's show. So anybody who's watched this channel since the beginning knows I've been on Goff's side throughout this season. I thought his play, while not exemplary, was sound. And as far as the Lions' future, knowing that year 3 is, only a couple months away when you look at where we're at in this season's schedule and the draft, free agent signing, here's my dilemma that I'll throw at everybody listening today when it comes to Goff. When he was playing like he did the first 4 games of the year, what was the realistic expectation that we're going to be able to draft somebody in the first or second season and have them play better than Goff was at that time? In my opinion, it was not a high probability situation. But unfortunately, Goff has played he has the last 2 games. Whatever the reasons may be, injuries, better schemes by the defenses, whatever it may be, at the end of the day, Goff is what his stats say he is. And yesterday in Dallas, he was a turnover machine. We can say what we want about the sacks, the fumbles, but those interceptions, the first one, let's be fair, it was just a bad pass no matter how you diagram it. With that being said about Goff, though, here's where the Lions are. The defense yesterday showed that we have multiple rookies who appear to be growing. I loved what they did with Josh Pascal. If you watch the videos throughout last week leading into the Dallas game, we're talking about the fact that we thought Pascal would be on a snap count, that he would make a large impact into the schemes that we were going to implement on the defensive line. And indeed, they did. The only thing I would say that we were not correct on is, man, the number of snaps he got yesterday far superseded anything we had anticipated. He was out there and playing at a high level during his very first NFL game. With that being said, we also like what they did with Hutchinson. They allowed Pascal to play the big end position while freeing up Hutchinson to go back to a 2-point stance and then free roam a little bit from side to side opposite of Pascal. And it clearly made an impact in yesterday's game. It'll be interesting to see what Aaron Glenn and Campbell do further on. If we could perhaps get a little bit more play out of the defensive tackle position. This defensive line may be very young and may be, by the end of the season, pretty good. Let's also talk about Jeff Kkudah. Obviously, the first season, he was played injured, and he did not play great. It wasn't horrible, but he wasn't, he was just kind of meh. He was kind of average. And I don't think anybody would really debate it. He had some moments here and there, some moments where he didn't look so great. Then, obviously, last year, he played a half of a game and wasn't even great in that. So as of yesterday, if I understand everything correctly, he's played 16 now NFL games. He's basically played one season. And yesterday, to me, might have been his best game ever. I mean, 15 tackles from a cornerback and 12 of them solo. That's basically unheard of. They also moved him around almost to the weak side safety position, especially when Dallas made a concerted effort to go away from Kkuda. I guess they said he was doing a good enough job where they had to try to run their offense opposite of him, and he made them pay, especially on running plays. He came up, and he came up hard into gaps, hitting people. You have to give the kid praise for what he's done. Is he a rookie? No, but he's basically got rookie games in and minutes, and he's starting to really develop. So while we're talking about Kkuda in the secondary, let's all give some notice to Kerby Joseph, another rookie playing meaningful minutes and starting for the Detroit Lions. They've got a plethora. Nearly half of their defense, 11 of the guys out there, nearly half of them are rookies. And obviously, we all know Malcolm Rodriguez. You know, he's been doing great. But let's talk about Joseph. Not only did he force a fumble, not only did he have a number of tackles and a pass breakup, you know, he really should have turned that pass breakup into an interception. But for a guy who's only started a few games, you can see consistent growth and development from Joseph every single game. So I know there's going to be a lot of YouTubers out there, a lot of media people out there, you know, slamming the Lions, slamming Campbell, slamming Goff, whatever. I just figure if you're watching these videos, you're probably getting enough of that. I don't need to do it. I'm going to focus a little bit more on the positives, and that's what I'm doing with this video and probably throughout the rest of the week. I think we're all aware of what we ain't got. Let's talk about some of the things that we do have. So with Hutchinson having another strong game, with Pascal coming in, looking like he could really be something, especially if he's given some time to develop. You know, we got Kerby Joseph, we got Malcolm Rodriguez. Right then and there, you've got a number of young players playing well. Then you add in Kkuda's development throughout this year. It's going to be interesting to see by the end of the season, where is this defense? Because that's going to really dictate what we do in the draft. Do I think there's more pieces that need to be added? I think you would agree that there are. But what are we going to do with those 2 first-round picks? It's my anticipation as of right now, unless Goff has a huge resurrection to the rest of the season, the number 1 pick is probably going to go, whether we finish number 1, 4, or 5, we're probably going to have to focus on a quarterback. You know, Goff has got some good things he can do, but he's just not consistent enough, it would appear. One other thing I wanted to talk about, if you go back to the Lions Talk Live breakdown of how New England shut down our offense, you'll notice that we talked about the NFL and where that's going to get around. An explosive Detroit offense was shut down and shut out throughout that game, and it was my anticipation you were going to see everybody copy it and mimic it. And I thought that was done yesterday to the T. Lions tried to combat it by having a strong amount of runs, trying to keep the Dallas prominent pass rush off balance. But at some point, as the game started to get away from Detroit, they had to become in more and more predictable situations to pass, and you could see the pass rush get home time and time again on Goff. With that being said, like we talked about in that breakdown video of how New England shut us down, Detroit has got some good receivers, but they just don't have 1 or 2 guys that will kill you if a defense goes man-to-man on us. Perhaps Williamson will be that guy when he hits the field, but he's not on the field right now. St. Brown, for all he's able to do, is now struggling to stay on the field. Continuing with St. Brown, here's the other thing I would say. He seems to do great quick slants over the middle, things of that sort, but it does appear, whether it's the ankle or whatever metric you want to look at, the last several games when he's been on the field, he has struggled to get separation when teams have gone all man on him. When they've left it to soft zone coverage, he destroys them. And I think everybody knows right now, Detroit's beat up in the receivers. Running back, Williams is who he is. He's great at some things. He's not great at pass catching nor running routes. So how much of a threat is he? Everybody continues to put a safety on Hutchinson, and Hutchinson is not getting open the vast majority of the times. So whoever's going to quarterback for us in the future, this is something that's going to have to be addressed for Detroit, or it's just going to be repeated over and over again. If Hutchinson can't get open, if St. Brown struggles to get open, if Swift's probably, not in the game because he's always hurt, who's left to really get open? And that's the problem the Lions are facing. Nobody's consistently winning their one-on-ones, So there's not a lot of great options where to go with the football. When Goff has a bevy of healthy receivers, when he's got a healthy offensive line, a sound running attack, then you know he's probably middle of the pack quarterback, maybe even pushing up towards number 10 in the NFL. The problem is, how often is that going to happen? How often are all the best receivers on this team going to stay healthy and on the field? How often are all the offensive linemen going to be healthy and performing at a high level? Same with the running backs. You know, running back is a position by nature. People are going to get hurt, and they're going to get hurt often. So with that being said, what's the probability that Goff is going to perform at a higher level in the next 1 to 2 to 3 seasons? Or is it time to look for somebody else? And my guess is, like I said, unless Goff adjusts, develops, and gets back to who he was the first quarter of the season, you're going to see a change at quarterback, and it'll just be interesting. All right, let's get into it with today's overreaction. I know I'm not coming at people. I'm not tearing down Goff, the coaching staff, or whatever. But if you can, leave some thoughts in the comments section below. Where do you think the team needs to go from here the rest of the year? What do you want to see out of the rest of the season? There's a lot of games left to play, and a lot of the young talent on this team has an opportunity to still grow forward and edge up in their abilities. And let's be honest, if the future is what we're looking at, that's what we really need to see. I'm still holding to my prediction of 6 wins. I thought, I didn't really buy into Hard Knocks and the media overall when people were yelling, hey, we're going to win 8 games, 10 games, win the division or whatever. We may still compete for the division. I still think, and I got into some conversations with some of you in the YouTube chat threads, I still think we have an opportunity to win 6 games, maybe even 7. Where that puts us in the division by the end of the year, that would be a great question to be answered. But unfortunately, only time's going to answer that. So I hope you all have a great day. Please leave a thumbs up, a subscription if you haven't yet subscribed, and we'll see you tomorrow on Lions Talk Live.